Before we talk about the pricing in creative industry, I'd like to explain a little bit about one very unique character of the cost structure in creative industry. Creative industry always have a high fixed cost, where it is very costly to produce the original creative content. But once the original content is created, the additional copy of delivering this creative content is almost free. So it has a very flat, almost flat, variable cost line. In other words, the marginal cost refers to the slope of the variable cost line. Marginal cost is zero. So how can you deal with this unique cost structure in creative industry and to make a profit, to become a sustainable business model? One important thing will be most of the cost coming from the fixed cost. So who will pay for the fixed cost? Some of the sources, of course, government subsidize. Most of the time in the past, usually governments support many of the cultural activities in the nation. But nowadays, government funding is now depleted or limited, and therefore, relying on some other sources of funding become important. And of course, charity foundations, many of the organizations, when they grow bigger and bigger and become more profitable, they have this corporate social responsibility, and they oftentimes organize a foundation and donate part of their profit to the society and to support cultural activities. And also, in order to sustain many of the cultural institutions or branding or organization, they establish their membership program. So they can collect the membership once the member join this cultural activity. For example, museum membership. Previously, we talked about Grace and James introduced us this museum, National Taiwan Museum of Fine Arts. They have this membership program as well. And also Spotify, for example, this is online streaming music database. Once you join, you need to pay a fixed cost. And the concept of this membership fee is to cover the original fixed cost. Another way to deal with this cost structure is licensing. Licensing is a contractual arrangement to make the creator's creativity to cover the initial fixed cost. And it also provides legal protection to the intellectual property, and it maximizes the intellectual property because once this original idea is created, it can reproduced in many forms to deliver this creativity. And the licensing is very similar to renting the idea to another entity to contribute to brand equity. For example, Walt Disney, this is the cartoon, and they have transformed their cartoon characters into a Disneyland and into a variety of products or services. And also, for example, the image library of National Taiwan Museum of Fine Arts. Previously, in the case, the designer designed some of the visual presentations, and it can be licensed through the museum's library. And another way to deal with that cost structure is price at your own will. And the rudimentary form is the charity foundation. Oftentimes, they raise this fundraising event for free donation. And that's the one type of the price at your own will. Another is the emerging music industry. Music industry is facing this zero marginal cost structure, the first industry to encounter this zero marginal cost structure. And so they responded by using new pricing strategy. One of the examples is Name Your Own Price. It's Radiohead music group. They let the consumer, whether you download it for free or you can just donate your own, how much you're willing to pay for it. These are the examples of pricing in creative industry. Another pricing concept that can work as well in creative industry is the component pricing. Component pricing basically is divide your product or services into separable components and charge by each component. And this is very commonly in actually non-creative industry, in this traditional industry. It's called two-part pricing. I think all you have the experience. You buy a printer, but then the cartridge is very expensive, but you need to buy it every time when the cartridge runs out. These are two-part pricing example. Sometimes the mobile phone can be offered free, but you need to sign a 2-year contract with the mobile phone service provider. So this is an example of that. So component pricing actually existed in tangible product, it existed in service industry, and it also very powerful in this creative industry as well. Aveda beauty salon service, this is another example of the beauty salon, and they can charge a haircut, or the designer even design a haircut for you. That's aesthetic value, charge for that, and you shampoo or you do other massage extra services, then they charge by component. And the museum, the same thing. Some of the exhibition is free enter, and some you need to pay extra. So, and then there are variety of product offered in the gift shops. So gift shop is another component of the museum experience, and the component pricing strategy applicable to the museum industry well. Last, in today's lecture, I'd like to talk about a very important thing related to pricing strategy, which is the importance of price stability. Price is the 4 P's, is one of the 4 P's that is that will involve not only the branding strategy, but also economic effect, chain effect. So it is very important to keep the price stable. From consumer behavior perspective, the frequent promotion may hurt long-term brand image. If a brand constantly on promotion, consumer will perceive the brand as a cheap brand. So it will hurt the brand's long-term image. And also, if you keep the price stable, it is less fluctuation in consumer demand. And it is actually easier for the brand manager to schedule the production quantity. Of course, in service industry, the fluctuation is, the service demand fluctuation is a natural occurrence in service industry. And it is inevitable to use price, high-low pricing to smooth the demand. And also, keep a stable price will prevent consumer from forward buying. They buy more and inventory it, and then the brand actually sell the product right now, but there will be a period of time there will be no sale for the brands. So keep the price stable has its benefit for the brand. And it also is a good reason to keep the price stable to maintain a good channel relationship. Stable price can avoid distributors forward buying and avoid distributors divergent product bought at promotion prices to retailers outside the designated selling areas, and also avoid manufacturers running over capacity during the promotion time. So it is good to keep a stable price to maintain a channel relationship. Also, the pricing maintain a stable price is important because the price will trigger some cross-industry chain effect. It is difficult to increase the price industry-wide as well as reduce the price. So no matter whether it's increase, reduce, pricing strategy cause chain effect. I believe all of you still remember the toilet paper price increase in Taiwan in 2018 March. And it is initially started from RT Mart, Darunfa retail store. They signal that because of the increase in the paper part raw material cost, so the toilet paper industry need to increase the price. And every brand is going to do that. So they signal that the whole price increase. And it trigger a panic in consumption. So during that period of time, if I believe you still remember, you couldn't find the toilet paper from the retail store. And that's a price increase induced a social panic effect. On the other hand, price reduction also will cause some panic from the company's investors' perspective. For example, Marlboro's price drop in 1993. After Marlboro announced that they will reduce the price, their stock price plummeted because the stockholders think, oh, then it's going to hurt our profit. And so they lost their confidence. So no matter price increase or price reduce will always trigger some of the cross-industry chain effect. So that's why when brand managers consider their pricing strategy, the first priority is to keep a stable price as possible. The listed price may be stable, but then the manager can use promotion or some other means to adjust the perceived value and induce demand. Another important issue related to price is it may cause some nationwide society issue, society chain effect. For example, salary. Salary is actually a price that you pay for a people's talent. They contribute their talent to a job, and you pay for that. That price is called salary. And basic salary increase in Taiwan is announced it will be activated in 2019 January. And the minimum wage will increase to $150 per hour. The mostly impacted industry is this services industry and creative industry. For example, restaurants, beauty salons, education and research institutions. The universities impacted by this as well. And most of the time, until now, in Taiwan, those apprentices in services and creative industries, they've been underpaid compared with those in other countries, more developed countries. And the increase in salary, in other words, increase in the price that you pay for a talent is actually result in more disposable income for the people who receive the salary, and it will eventually increase the purchasing power of one nation, of one population. And it is very important to transform a manufacturer-based nation economy to a consumption-driven, cultural-based economic growth. So increase in salary exerts lots of controversial issues in the political arena, but from pricing strategy, from creative industry perspective, it is eminent, it is fundamental, it is very important to increase the price, increase the salary for those talented people so that we can attract more people. So today I talk about price, and I talk about price in traditional industry where tangible product is sold or where services is offered. I also talk about price in creative industries. And we can see price plays multiple roles, not only in bring profits to a firm, it also stimulates demand. And it also will trigger an industry-wide effect, even it will contribute a nation's creative industry growth. So I hope you got some new idea from this class, and I will see you in our second part of the branding strategy class.